Normally I like to have a bit of a delay, but this is live in at least one venue. So this is episode 101 of the Unnecessary Nonsense podcast. And on this episode, we're going to have a little bit of a smorgasbord. We've done that before, but in this case, literally the first segment is going to be like miscellaneous crap we feel like going through, different categories. Then Dave has questions, wrestling related questions. I don't know what they are yet, but as usual, it's more fun this way. And we're going to talk about, as you know, resident Fairweather fan of Les Habitants, Dave Turnbull will discuss how his team is inexplicably still not crap and still not gone. Yet they're still here. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Carlos watching an NBA game, question mark, exclamation point, question mark, and that and more on episode 101, Cake Plus One of the Unnecessary Nonsense podcast. We will actually have a real title, Cake Plus One. While funny, the joke only works so much. I'm Carlos Estes.
It can only go on for so long. All right. So as we're doing Smorgasbord, I have something that I want to show you. I want to show off Carlos because I got something in the mail.
He got something in the mail.
You ready for this?
I am ready. What do you have?
All right.
Okay, so I'm zooming in here. David, this rocks. All right. I see the flannel shirt. I see the glasses. Who the hell is that supposed to be?
That is Mr. Kim from Kim's Convenience that I drew, and I mailed it to him, and he liked it and signed it and sent it back to me.
I see. We have talked about Kim's Convenience before on the show. This has been referenced. So I applaud you for the callback. It is at least a callback to something that has been referenced on the show before. It's you and 5 other people, I think, in an old folks' home who watch CBC who have seen the show.
It's got a huge
following.
6
And it's
fine.
on
Netflix. It's on Netflix now too.
Yeah, so's my home videos. What's your point? Netflix has a lot of stuff.
It's true. It's true. But no, that's my thing now, right? Is drawing people and sending them out. I have that. Obviously, I got that one back. I was pretty excited about. I've shown a couple of the other ones that I've done, and I think I have 11 out, maybe 13 just out there.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. There could be more show and tell in the future. You never know.
Look at you. Aren't you special? Sounds good. So let me grab this
so
here.
Topic 1 done. Now, Carlos, I believe you have some card things you would like to
Yes.
show.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom through a couple of areas card related because I do enjoy talking about my stuff. And my main YouTube channel is predominantly card related, and my Instagram directly relates to the card related YouTube channel. So it is simple. Now this, since you brought up a drawing, I figure I would also touch on a drawing that also plays into a piece that we've talked about previously. So actually, let me stick thematic for a second. So we'll combine the wrestling with a related topic here. So this here is from our 2020 Leaf set.
Ooh, nice.
So this is so this is actually a see-through card. I don't have it yet, so I wanted to show it first.
Okay, so this is something you've ordered.
This is something that's right now been ordered, and it is en route. So
From
this,
Le Champion.
that's right.
I don't love that signature though.
And that's what it is. I've looked at a couple different ones, and he's pretty consistent with it. It's kind of a sloppy signature. I think it's just once guys have been signing long enough, they kind of get lazy about it. But one thing that Leaf did is that a lot of their people they use like drawings. Like I showed you a couple of examples where they used a lot of drawings for this particular set. So this series has quite a smorgasbord, quite a mix of different characters from different organizations, different segments. I just thought a Chris Jericho one was appropriate. Because number one, Chris Jericho is an all-time great, fun character, enjoyable, and of course he's got the AEW connection, which is cool. And it's actually
He's Canadian.
Yeah, well that matters less to me, but sure.
No, but for the show, it gives us our CanCon, right?
Yeah, it gives us our CanCon, exactly. So the thing is though, is it's also an acetate card. So when I get it in person, I'll show it because it's a see-through card. So it's actually basically written on plastic.
Okay.
So it's kind of a cool look, but right now with the background there, it looks white. But then once I get the card I'll show it on a later show so you can see it. But I love when an acetate card is done like it with a signature because it looks very cool because you can actually see through it on both sides, which is actually kind of a neat feature.
That is cool.
Now that checklist on that clearly one has quite some interesting characters because they've got Goldberg, they've got Hulk Hogan. They've got, now the one I was looking at was not an acetate card. There was another one that I was looking at that did sell. I wasn't going to buy it right away because it wasn't cheap, but I was looking at it. Mr. Alligator Shoes himself is in this set as well.
Nice. How much was that one going for?
It ended up selling for 150, which is
that's not horrible.
No, it's not.
Actually, quite frankly, like if that's sort of comparable that if you were going to get something signed by Ric Flair himself,
mm-hmm.
it's in that realm. So
I don't think it was unfair at all. I think it was fairly reasonable. It's just this segment I wanted to mention that I've been kind of going ham on eBay. So I've got a couple of stories related to eBay. I'm going to show off a couple more cards.
I like that you're going ham with a little bit with the wrestling too, though, Carlos. Like,
once I discovered this set, there's certain themes, certain characters. I'm very specific. I'm very strategic because they have a lot of subsets and stuff. There's a lot. There's a whole rabbit hole you could explore. The thing is that not all of it interests me.
All right. So here's a question.
Go ahead.
Is there a specific thing, like a wrestling related card or autograph? I guess because you're mostly getting just autographs, right? Are you getting anything that isn't autograph?
This series is all autographs as far as I can tell.
So,
well, they do have some memorabilia. That's not true. They do have some memorabilia.
Okay. But you're going for more of the autograph things, what you show and what you bought.
That's more my interest.
So for you, irregardless of price at the current moment in time, what is that one that you don't have that you want, regardless of whether you haven't bought?
He's not in the series because he was dead when the series came out. But if he had been around for it, I would love to add a Macho, because a Macho Man would be a great one. The Hogan would be interesting. I would probably try to get a Hogan just because, like, he's a big figure. Like, he certainly qualifies. He counts. Flair, obviously, that was the reason I was paying attention to Flair. So I'm looking at some of the goats, some of the best of the best. So
I would love to get, obviously I've drawn some. Obviously, I'm not going to mail these out because he's dead as well. I've been doing a few of like the ones that I like that are alive. I basically all mailed out. The ones that aren't, I still draw. But
so Virgil,
yeah, of course. I should have got Virgil when he was at the card show.
Virgil would have charged you no matter what. He would have just been like, "That'll be $50." But I haven't even. All we're doing is talking. That'll be $60.
Yeah, no, not worth it. Not for Virgil. But Andre the Giant.
Sure. Yeah. No, he'd definitely be a quality add there. There's certain, that's why I say I'm being picky. Chris Jericho to me fits a lot of categories. It checks a lot of boxes, including, like I said, his prominence in AEW. So to me, like, I'm enjoying the AEW product. Therefore, I am picking people that are associated with the product. But in addition, I'm also picking like the Ted DiBiase ones. The Sid Vicious.
You kind of have to have $1 million man.
Of course. And I've got a couple now, which is awesome. But with different combinations. Jimmy Hart and one with Tito Santana. I'm familiar with Tito Santana as well. So like the mixes are okay. If the combination makes sense to me, I'm interested. Some of the subsets, the smaller ones, I'm interested as well. Yeah. But I'm being picky. Like, to me, it's like, you could collect this whole series. There's so many cards, so many awesome ones. But I'm like, I don't want everybody. But there are certain ones that I think, oh, that'd be a cool one to add. That'd be a cool one to add. Some of them are just interesting, but I wouldn't get them. Because you can get Warlord. That's interesting. The Barbarian. That's interesting. Yeah. I don't need it, but it's interesting. Honky Tonk Man. Again, interesting. One of the ones that I saw, Tugboat. So you get Typhoon / Tugboat / Shockmaster. So that's another one that is interesting. I'm not after it, but it's interesting. But I also look at, because this one is not company specific. It's not WWE. It's not AEW. It's whoever they were able to sign to a contract to do some signatures for them. So they've got Edge. They've got Mick Foley. They've got guys like that. So there are some interesting combinations that are out there. So it's like, I'm looking over the checklist and I'm trying to be selective. I'm trying to find certain pieces that I'm like, oh, that'd be kind of cool to have. Oh, that'd be kind of cool to have. I'm being picky. And if the price is reasonable, I'm in. If it's a little bit high, I'm like, that's okay. But if I can add something that's kind of cool, this is purely from a personal collection, just for fun standpoint. And that's where I like to have it.
Yeah.
So that's always, to me, that's the key. If you can do that, I think you'll always be happier if you find something that interests you. Now, speaking of things that interest me, let's talk about my homie, Juan Soto.
Let's do it.
My friend and yours, Juan Soto. So, I have been, as I said, going ham. I have done the things. And, let me tell you, I looked at it and I was like, so what I'll do is I'll show two. Okay. So this one's a cool one. Paid a pretty penny for it. If you want to know, I can tell you offline, but let me tell you. Okay, so this one's kind of interesting. I like this one. So let me show this to you. So I will share the screen. All right, so this is a 2018 Bowman Best of 2018 autograph, Juan Soto autograph. This is a rookie year on-card autograph.
Nice.
Beckett graded 9.5. Let me tell you. So this is quite the nice piece. And obviously it's got the rookie card logo in the corner as well. It isn't considered a rookie card, but it's his rookie year, and it's a rookie year insert, and it's an on-card autograph.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet. Not going to lie. So I'm like, ooh, I like it. So I was like, must have. So let me close that up. So there you go. You got a little peek at the price too, if you were paying attention. I paid a pretty penny for that one. So
Indeed.
Now, there's one more here that I'll share real quick. And then
Right.
I have to share a box price that blew my mind, and not in a good way. I was looking at it. I was like, oh, this is hilarious. Also horrific. So let me grab this one here. I'll show a picture of this one. This is pretty sweet as well. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take care of some rookie year stuff while the prices are down on him a little bit. He's not having a good season, but he's not having really a terrible season if you actually look behind the numbers. But
Yeah.
I'll show you here. So this is actually a Juan Soto pink refractor of his rookie card.
Okay.
So this is basically graded Beckett 9, which brought the price down a little bit, but it's a good clean copy of this card. This thing would have been awesome to pick up back in 2018 when nobody was paying attention to Juan Soto. But the pink refractor is a nice looking card. Love it. Any refractor from that rookie year, because even the base card. Now, I sold the base version of this chrome card. I sold it for over 500 US.
Sweet.
So all I got to say is I bought the pink refractor, which is a rarer version, cheaper than the base version I sold.
That is called good wheeling and dealing, my friend.
Yeah, but you got to pick your timing, because right now the market's a little bit down on them. Sports card market is down as a whole right now, not in every category, but in some categories.
For sure.
So if the opportunity presents itself, you should take advantage of it and ride the wave a little bit. Because to me, I was like, so basically I sold this card at the peak, and then I'm buying the rarer versions of some of these cards at the low.
Yeah.
And I've even added some Vladimir Guerrero Juniors. Even as I've been selling some, I've been picking up some. So it's like I'm trying to take advantage of it on both sides where I can, because and I'll quickly show this one here. Let me quickly open this one up. So this will be the last one before I show you the box. I'll do one more here, and then that'll end show and tell for the cards today.
Okay.
There's been more stuff, but I'll take it easy on you guys. So here is a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Bowman Best refractor, also of his rookie year and his rookie card. This is numbered to 50. These are very rare. So if he continues to play well, this will be quite the spicy meatball, and I shall be cackling $1 Million Man style.
Nice.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Just if he continues to play well through the rest of the season, just remember that when it's all Rolexes and Armani suits for Carlos. That's all I'm saying.
I like it, Carlos. I can't not.
That's all I'm saying. So, good timing on picking up some of those pieces. I'm keeping an eye, and I am having fun with a little bit of flyer, but like I said, I'll save that for later. Anyway, so for today, that is it. Now let's do the one that was horrifying me, and
right.
we'll discuss. As you well know, I am a huge fan of the UFC, and Panini has the license to do UFC cards. Back in the heady days of 2018 and 2019, I was opening up some Topps Chrome UFC when Topps had the license, and I was enjoying it, and I was putting together a set of the autographs. I may have to sell those because, to be honest, some of them have started to appreciate. I have the Amanda Nunes autograph, and these days it's going for a little bit more than what I paid for it. Nice. And you know what? If they want it that badly, you know what? Maybe I'll let you guys have it, because I don't think I can complete the set. I've been looking for some of the cards, and they're getting priced out of sight. So I'm like, ooh, maybe I'll just sell off the pieces that I have for the set. I'm mostly done, which is the shame, but it is what it is. All right, so here is the box of Panini Select UFC. Check it out, Dave. What's the price, Dave?
$999.95.
It hurts my soul, Dave.
It does.
It hurts
really
my soul
does.
a lot. It hurts my soul a lot. Do you know how much I was paying for boxes of Topps Chrome? Topps Chrome, by the way, to me is an equivalent product for Topps to what Select is for Panini.
Let's say, I don't know, $100.
Yeah, I was actually paying closer to 85. They have an autograph for box. This one has 2 autographs. So does the Topps Chrome, to be honest. But anyway.
Well then.
Priced a wee bit higher. Just a wee bit. Yeah, $1,000 a box ain't happening, Dave.
Yeah, no.
I need Dave Turnbull teacher. Where's my Tox dollars going money? Tragic. If we ever get the money tree figured out, then we'll make it happen. Otherwise, that's a straight no-go. But if I see some cool singles or something, maybe I'll pick them up. The singles will probably be reasonably priced because some people will ignore certain ones. Obviously, the big stars will go for a pretty penny, but the rest of them will be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, that box is a straight no-go. Like, I can't even imagine. You would really have to be good and lucky to pull something that would work. It would not be a good time for you. But hey, look on the upside. If worst comes to worst, Dave, let me offer you a bargain, a relative bargain.
All right.
Here it is. You can have a Panini Prism. Prism's a good brand. Blaster box for $65.
Ooh.
Retail $20. It's like, guys, you know what a blaster box is? A blaster box is 4 cards per pack, 6 packs per box. It's what you used to go with to Walmart and found those little. That's a blaster box. $65.
Jeez. Insane, my friend. Insane.
And that is the current world of sports cards.
Yeah, exactly. Cheers to that. You know what, though? Speaking of cheers, Carlos, cheers to Les Habitants, the Montreal Canadiens, being 1 win away from going to the Stanley Cup final. I honestly, everyone's like, oh, here's my take on this. They're doing their best Dallas Stars impression of last year.
Oh, that's farcical, Dave. We all know that the Canadians are technically a better team. Listen, it's like, here's the reality. Like, if you go look, that team had no business being anywhere near anything. Like, they didn't even, for the Stanley Cup final, I'm trying to think back right now. Ben Bishop wasn't available. That was their actual starting goaltender. He wasn't available for the Stanley Cup final. So let's put it this way. In order to do your Dallas Star impression, you need to lose Carey Price 2 rounds ago.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. Okay, so fine, Dallas, you win. Because there's no way that Montreal is where they are without Carey Price.
I understand. But what I'm trying to say is, like, technically, they didn't even have that. Their goaltending, it was passable, ?
Hey, they beat Vegas, just like Montreal is poised to do. Doesn't mean they haven't done it yet. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. But they're in a good place.
They are in a good place. But that was one of those things where I was sitting there like, hey, you know what? Listen, I have, as much as I like slagging you for it, and deservedly so, but the reality is, like, good for them. I really don't have a horse in this race. I'm just looking for a good Stanley Cup final. The only piece that I would love is I'd love the Islanders to dispatch Tampa.
I would too.
Like,
and then I could live with Montreal. No, I just really do. I'm just so sick of Tampa in everything.
Yeah, like, but I mean, like, I don't need Tampa anymore. Like, enough.
Like,
enough
give us. I don't need the Rays. I certainly don't need the Bucks. I don't need their hockey team, and they don't have. Wow, and look what the Raptors did in Tampa playing this year. Like, no, thank you. All right, just bye Tampa.
Yeah, like, enough already. So to me, it's like, look, if we can avoid the Lightning, I'm good with any combination of anything else you want to do. We're in the Final Four. Give me any combination that doesn't involve the Lightning, and let's go. I'm game. Let's make this happen. But yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how this piece plays out. But, like, to me, it's like I said, I'll watch a little bit of it. I'm not super interested, but I will definitely watch a little bit. I don't see any harm in it. Funny enough, did you want to add anything else about the Canadians or anything of that?
Honestly, there's nothing else I really need to add. But it's great. I mean, it's not the most entertaining brand of hockey, that's for sure. But it's been damn effective. And Carey Price has been playing out of his mind, and everything's just kind of gelling. Like, they lost 5 in a row going into the playoffs. Then they won against the Leafs, lost 3 in a row, and then won 3 in a row. You know, and then obviously dispatched Winnipeg, and now we're in with Vegas, 1 win away. You know what I mean? Like, it's sure as hell of a surprising, but it's enjoyable, right? Like, it's at this point you beat the Leafs, so everything else is gravy, and your gravy train could end with the Stanley Cup. This I will tell you, though, because I don't know if you know this, and if people who follow the team will know this, but Game 6, which is tomorrow night, is Saint Jean Baptiste Day as well, which is a huge holiday in Quebec. If you remember from I'm bringing it up, Carlos, I'm going there. If you remember from your Canadian history days, that was where they had the FLQ crisis was going on, starting up, and they had the big parade for Saint Jean Baptiste Day, and Pierre Trudeau was there, and people were throwing things at him, and he refused to leave the grandstand.
Look at you with the
They're
extra
taking
crank
it.
on.
What I'm saying is they're going to the Stanley Cup because they're going to win tomorrow night.
Is that what you're saying?
That is what I'm saying.
Well, we'll see if it comes to pass. That'll be the chance.
Or I will be here Saturday night when we record eating humble pie for my words. One or the other.
And listen, I like
either works. One works for me. The other works for you. So both work for this podcast.
I appreciate you sticking your neck out for it. I do appreciate you sticking your neck out for it. Yeah, like I said, for me, it makes no difference. I'm good with whatever as long as we've got a compelling final. I'm cool because that's really all I'm interested in for that.
And I think you will, because I honestly feel no matter what happens, I obviously would rather see the Islanders like you would, just because I don't want Tampa anyway. I'm just done with Tampa. But you know what? I think Montreal, I think Vegas can hang with anybody, although their forwards are really not playing well, and neither is their power play. But I think Montreal will hold their own. Is it possible they could win the Stanley Cup? Yeah, it is. Right? I think you have to give whoever they play, if they get that far, you have to give Tampa or the Islanders to be the favorite. But every team they've played has basically been the favorite, and they've done okay with that.
I just love the idea that 3 out of the 4 teams have either never won, Vegas, or haven't won in nearly 30 years, Montreal, or nearly 40 years, the Islanders. Like think about that.
Yeah.
Like that's the reason. Part of the reason,
which is why, honestly, it's better for the NHL if Tampa doesn't make it.
That's what I mean. Like, to me, it's like, look, here's the truth. Jokes aside about the Tampa thing. Who cares if Tampa wins the Stanley Cup? No one was sad. No one was like, let's put it this way. Dallas was not a good team last year. They got there like by luck, but no one was happy that Tampa won. No one was excited. It was just like, yeah, okay, fine. They were a good team. They got great players, but it's like, who cares about Tampa? It's not like that wasn't even their first cup. They've won a cup before. So it's like, great. Okay. Well, you won another cup. So congratulations. Off in the distance, the Leafs are crying. Like, here's this garbage team that has won 2 cups, and you're still sitting there like, could you get out of the second round? Can you do that? Do you think you could try that for a change of pace?
Yeah, really, right?
Yeah, like, give that a go. But yeah, for me, it's like, I would just love a fresh matchup. And any combination of Vegas, the Islanders, and Canadians will give me a fresh matchup, because I haven't seen that in any combination.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like, all right, we'll see. So that's what I'd be good with. So let me quickly touch on the basketball.
All right. Carlos watched the game, everybody.
I did.
This is a big deal.
I did. So I watched the Game 7 with the Milwaukee Bucks taking on the Brooklyn Nets, the Brooklyn Experiment, the Brooklyn, let's see how many malcontent and ridiculous players we can get together. And apparently it didn't work. Oh, but injuries. No, it just didn't work. The basketball god struck them with lightning is what happened.
But honestly, here's the thing. If you like, from my following of the playoffs, the big thing was like Kevin Durant, like in the game, Kevin Durant was just basically like, all right, guys, let's go.
Yep.
That team is Kevin Durant. Yes, they have James Harden. Yes, they have Kyrie Irving. That team is Kevin Durant.
Correct. But what I'm trying to say is, here's the interesting thing about this, okay?
And Kevin Durant is a pretty damn good basketball player.
Let me present the narrative as I see it as a non-basketball guy.
All right.
Kevin Durant is a great, all-time great caliber basketball player. Even as a non-basketball guy, I can see that. I watched the game. I could see very clearly that he was willing.
Why did you watch the game?
Because it was a Game 7. And I genuinely was interested if this experiment that is broke. Here's the thing. One of 2 things was going to happen. Either this ridiculous Brooklyn experiment was going to continue, or Milwaukee was finally not going to blow it. I was genuinely, for me, the storyline was interesting. That is an interesting storyline.
All right. Fair enough.
Because legacy-wise, one of these guys was going to get a leg up. Because the reality is, here's the knock on Kevin Durant. As great as he is, his championships are with Golden State. And I could have won 2 championships with Golden State. But Carlos, you don't play basketball. Not the point. I could have won 2 championships with Golden State. They didn't need Kevin Durant. He was the icing on an already well-developed cake for those 2 teams. And technically, they would have won 3 in a row if they hadn't had the injury bug. Injuries happen. It's part of the game. If they hadn't had the injury bug, to be blunt, for the Toronto Raptors faithful, Golden State wins that series if even one less guy on Golden State gets hurt.
Maybe.
I guarantee it. One less guy gets hurt, Golden State, they win. But it worked out. Great for the Raptors. Beautiful. Good job, because you only had Kawhi for the 1 year, so you maximized your value out of that. So congratulations, and it worked out for you. And Kawhi is still trying to replicate it in Los Angeles with the other LA team. It's not working out. But we'll see what happens going forward. But the thing is this. This was an interesting legacy matchup because basically Kevin Durant did have to put it on his back and carry it because like it wasn't going to, you know, James Harden is not a noted playoff performer. He's just not. But he was also hobbled. Like he basically couldn't move.
Yeah.
He was worthless. Like he was just there. He was a pylon. And it was just bizarre watching it was a circus. It was this bizarre, like bizarro version of basketball. It's like, in fairness, basketball can devolve into this, like the basketball fans, I applaud them, but I'm sorry. Like even as not a purist of the game, it's got to be boring to be like, all right, so what are we going to do? We're going to pass. Either we get an easy layup or take a three. Those are your only two options. That's all you're going to do.
Yeah.
And baseball has had this problem too, where it's become like home run, ground ball, strikeout. Do we do anything else? Well, no, not really. That's about all that happens. So it's like, well, when you've only got a handful of outcomes, it's not, we all know what you're going to do. The one thing you're not going to do is take a jumper from inside the 3-point line. Now, Kevin Durant did a lot of that in that game. He ended up with 48 points, had a tremendous performance. Giannis had 40 points, tremendous performance. But down the stretch, both teams took turns kind of struggling. It was a dogfight the whole way. They struggled. And Kevin Durant technically, now this was something interesting that I heard about. Apparently Kevin Durant wears a larger shoe than he needs to wear. He's more comfortable with a larger shoe size. Well, on the last shot of the regulation, he took what could have been a 3-point shot that would have won Brooklyn the game. But he's wearing a shoe size that's one shoe size large, and his toe was on the 3-point line, making it a 2-pointer.
Oh my goodness.
If he had worn his regular shoe size, it would have been a 3-pointer and they would have won the game.
Unreal.
So it was like, that's what it came down. That's why I say, like, down the stretch, it was very compelling. Because it literally came down to a toe. He had a toe on the line.
I did not know that.
It was a toe on the line. Therefore, 2 points, tie, go to overtime. And he was literally like, I'm dead. I got nothing. Yeah. So the 5 minutes of overtime, they were like worthless, like couldn't buy a shot. And Milwaukee finally advances.
Hey, you know,
good for Milwaukee.
Good for Milwaukee.
Yeah. But Giannis needed that. From a legacy perspective, he needed that because it wasn't like, here's the thing. This is what's going to make it interesting now. Not a basketball guy, but here's the storyline now. Technically, Milwaukee should be the favorite.
Absolutely, they should be. They're playing at home tonight. Currently, Carlos, it is 13-10 for Milwaukee with 6 minutes and 33 seconds left in the first quarter.
No, for sure. But I mean, even beyond that, like, think about this. Against Phoenix, they should be favored. And against an LA team that isn't going to have Kawhi, most likely.
I'm not convinced
they will be favored. That whether you believe they should be favored is two different conversations. They will be favored. 100%. The Clippers have gone down 2-0 in every series they've gone in.
No,
they're relying on playoff P.
No, I'm actually not sure they'll be favored against Phoenix. I think Phoenix might actually be favored.
Phoenix has played well. I don't think they'll get that respect. I think they'll give it to Giannis.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, I guess let's see. I just want to see this. So the Milwaukee was 46-26,
mm-hmm.
and Phoenix was 51-21.
Totally understand. But I think remember, the point of a sports book is to induce action.
No, of course.
So you want to set it up in such a way that people think, oh, well, it's obviously going to go the other way. And then you bet, whatever.
Yeah. No, you're right. Even if they do favor slightly Phoenix, I feel that might be a line that changes because of the betting, right?
Yeah, more than likely. But to me, and this is where it lands. Like, if you really think about this, like, let's lay it out. Atlanta Hawks. I don't know if they've ever won the championship. I don't think that's happened.
No, they have not.
Milwaukee, not since the days of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I think it was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I believe.
Yeah.
Phoenix, no. And the Clippers, no. So statistically speaking, you're probably going to have a new NBA champion, or at least one that hasn't won in decades and decades and decades, or a completely fresh champion.
Yeah, you're for sure, man.
So that's what I mean. Like, so from a
I like to give the
Yeah, go ahead.
stats out there. 1971,
Yeah, and that would have been a Kareem team with, I think,
right?
Oscar Robertson.
Was
I've read the book of basketball. Again, not a guy, but I still like the history. I'm still interested in like the breakdown of the eras and stuff. But
so
yeah, that was
I'm just going through the some of the names that people may know here on this team. So Lou Alcindor,
yes, later
all
known as
right.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
So there you go. But like that's how old, right? Like the
Yeah,
fact that he was not Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Well, the last time playing, right?
yeah,
Like that's how long it's been.
yeah. But that
Then
was
we
also
also
big. That was
Bob
also big for his
Boozer
legacy. That was also big for his legacy because he did win that championship
and
in
yes,
Milwaukee.
Oscar Robinson, yeah. So
Yeah, and he was towards the end of his career. So Lou Alcindor / Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was at the very beginning of his career, and then Oscar Robertson was finishing it up, and that was kind of his last big hurrah.
yeah, crazy, right? And then yes, yeah, as we said, the other have nobody else has won.
Yep. So I think no matter what, it's going to feel like a fresh thing. But this is Milwaukee's best opportunity in a very long time. Like the lane has lined up in such a way because once you got past Brooklyn, it's like the path is not completely cleared, but it's about as clear as it's gonna get.
Yeah. And I'm just trying to think. The last time, if we're looking at this, last time Phoenix was in the NBA Finals
With Charles Barkley, like
was
93?
93,
Yeah, 93. With Charles Barkley,
right?
too.
Yeah. And I'm just looking to see if I'm trying to think. I'm not sure my either of the other teams have ever been there since. Like I don't think Milwaukee's been there
The
since.
Clippers never been there.
No, I know the Clippers have never been there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, even in their yeah, so neither team has been to, so Milwaukee has not been to the NBA Finals since they won it.
Yep.
And the Atlanta Hawks have never been to the NBA Finals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's going to be like I said, it's going to be really fresh. Fans that are less than like 70 years old or 60 years old are not going to remember it.
Yeah.
Any of these teams being involved.
So crazy, eh?
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like inadvertently, it is forced fresh matchups.
Oh, sorry. Let's just look at this. Oh, yeah, okay, but you know what? So they do credit the Atlanta Hawks with an NBA championship.
Under a previous iteration?
Okay, but that was in 1958 as the St. Louis Hawks.
I'm not going to count that.
So the franchise has won, if
Right.
you want to count that, but they have not won anything since moving to Atlanta.
By that metric,
because Atlanta is a shithole for champions unless you're the 90s Braves, and they only won one.
What do you mean? They were up 28-3 in a Super Bowl.
Yes, they were. And it was like that would be even more hilarious that they lost that if it wasn't for the fact that it was Tom Brady that won it.
That's what I mean. Like to this day, we continue to be punished by this. If just finish the job. Finish the job. Now we have to deal with this nonsense. But anyway, so yeah, so that was my main takeaway from that game. It was a good game. It was back and forth, but there were stretches that were like, okay, so you're just gonna miss every shot? Is that the plan? You're just gonna take bad threes because that's kind of what you're both doing. Just keep taking bad threes now,
man.
Like, look, man, I'm sure this is exciting for somebody. Let's put it this way. I wasn't sold. This was about as good a game in terms of a back and forth, down to the wire, went to overtime in a game set. Like, overtime in a game 7. Yeah. It's about as good as you can do from a scenario. And by the way, 2 legacies on the line, like 2 players who really need this win, who really need this win.
For sure.
And both get 40 points. Like, it's all the components are there. And I'm like, I wasn't converted to a basketball fan on that game. It just wasn't. It was better than a lot of the ones I watched, but it's like,
yeah.
I need to see more than 2 outcomes is what I'm trying to get at. Especially when there's easy 2 points out there. I'm like, why do you keep taking junk threes? Stop it. Take the 2 points. The 2 points are right there. I will say one.
Today's NBA though, Carlos.
Yeah, I will say one thing though. And one thing, and it makes me laugh because I do enjoy watching like the Skip Baylesses of the world. You know, they're basically shtick at this stage. Like I can't take them seriously. But I will say one thing. The one knock on LeBron James, and it is legitimate, is that sometimes he will be afraid to really attack. Like I said, even as a non-basketball fan, I understand that late in the game, especially when they're going to give you fouls, you may as well just run down the lane and attack. Especially if you're a big guy, like LeBron James is built strong enough that he can just attack the rim at will. Why don't you do that? What's the worst that happens? Oh, what if he misses some free throws? Who cares? You'll foul their best defender out who has to keep blocking you keep doing it until he fouls out.
Yeah.
This seems like a viable strategy. I don't care if you miss every single time. Just keep trying until the guy falls out. This is a strategy. Like, this is actually a good idea. Do that on purpose. And I will say, in that game, Kevin Durant attacked. I saw him attack. Now, he wore himself out by the end of it, but that's because nobody on his team was there who could provide any assistance. Kyrie was off injured. James Harden maybe was dead. He was on the court allegedly. Like, he was worthless.
Yeah.
And like, nobody else was making a shot. So I will say Kevin Durant tried his damnedest to will that team to victory. But in the end, that ridiculous experiment failed. And we can only hope that at some point, one or both, all three of those pieces gets, that group needs to get dismantled. Get rid of Kyrie. That's my suggestion. Get rid of Kyrie. Antarctica's still good, Steve Nash. There's still time. Get to the chopper. Just my suggestion. Just a thought. Something you may want to consider.
Yet again, Kyrie, fails.
But the thing is, you can't be surprised. He doesn't actually play in the playoffs. Like, it's kind of not his thing. It's not his bag.
It's like, remember, people, LeBron carried him to a championship, and he's been toxic everywhere else he's gone.
And here's the thing. It's not like LeBron is like mentally tough. Like, there'll be moments where he'll not engage. He won't attack. And it's like, it's not lack of talent. He's got talent. Sometimes the one piece of the argument that I'll agree that Michael Jordan has the edge on LeBron. LeBron is going to have the career longevity. He's going to have the overall statistics and all that. But the one area where I'll agree is that Michael Jordan had killer instinct, if nothing else. He would attack. He would keep attacking. Even when it was irrational, he would keep attacking. Because then he took it personally. If you watch The Last Dance, you'll know what I'm saying. And then he took it personally. He takes everything personally. That's the point that we're trying to get at here. But LeBron maybe needs to start taking a couple of things personally and like, dude, just attack. You're a really big guy. You can attack. You're basically like a gigantic dude. You could like throw yourself like a missile at this. Just go to the rim and see what happens. You'd be surprised. Might work. So anyway, so that is my basketball analysis for the day.
And we thank you for it, Carlos.
I do what I can. All right, what's next on the agenda?
All right, Carlos, this brings us to everyone's favorite moment. And by everyone, I mean no one. It is time for the Pretentious Cross Country Running Report with Dave Turnbull.
Agreed. No one likes pretentious cross country running, but we're going to do it anyway. Brace yourselves for... The best part is that, once again, if anyone caught it live, they caught it live. They catch it on Facebook, they caught it live. Otherwise, that's not the song you get.
It's true. It's true. And it's a great song. Also, this is what I want to talk about in this report. But if you want to catch rolling Neymar, the one thing VAR is good for
in Neymar?
Soccer is that, no, it really pretty much, because I've seen VAR bring back 2 Neymar penalties where he's been fouled and a penalty has been called. And then they went to VAR and realized, didn't know he was just faking it and rolling around. So that is the one thing that apparently VAR is good at doing. Everything else it sucks at, but that it is good at. No, my Pretentious Cross Country Reporting Report is going to go a little political, but here's my complaint.
Remember, we're live right now.
I know. Okay. My complaint is with UEFA because here's
shocking.
The thing. So, because I just wish, Carlos, that people could just be open about things. And really what they should just say is, we're corrupt and we're all about the money.
That Dave, should be... You're not open about your undying love of CONCACAF.
Yeah.
Thou doth protest too much, sir.
Oh. All I'm saying, Carlos, is literally every soccer organization, CONCACAF included, should be, we're all about the money and we're corrupt. Or we're corrupt and we're all about the money. Or we're corrupt and we only care about the money. Something along those lines.
Okay.
All right. So here's what happened this week, because I'm sure you missed it. So in Hungary, maybe not this week, but this happened recently, a law was passed that prohibits depictions of homosexual relationships to people under 18.
Okay.
Meaning, from my understanding, and people can correct me if I'm wrong, but meaning it can't be taught. Nothing with a homosexual relationship can be taught in school. A movie would have to have like an adult rating, I guess, an 18+ rating, if it had a gay couple in it, or someone was gay, or that was part of the film, or things like that. All right. So there are a lot of countries or individuals or individual soccer federations that took issue with this, because the Euros are going on right now, and Hungary is until today, because they got eliminated, is playing in the Euros. So one of the things that happens. So here's where my issue comes with UEFA. So the other day, Manuel Neuer, in their game, not against Hungary, because I actually don't know if he did in that game, but the game before against Portugal, he's a captain of Germany, and his captain armband was the rainbow flag.
Okay.
All right. So UEFA announced they were investigating this because he may have done something political by doing that. And, they're a non-political organization, so political statements are banned, and they're apolitical, a-religious, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, but they found out, no, it's fine. He didn't really do anything political, which he kind of totally did. But that's okay. I have no problem with him wearing it. I encourage that. In the meantime, the officials from Munich, the stadium in Munich, Germany, where some games are being played, asked permission from UEFA to light the stadium up in rainbow colors in
Mhm.
preparation for the Germany-Hungary game that was today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. UEFA denies this because it's a political statement, because they're playing Hungary, and we don't like that, right? But we don't condone what Hungary's done, and we're all for gay rights. So much so that they changed their Twitter logo, not at the beginning of June for Pride, but once this all went down, they're like, look, we changed it to a rainbow logo. Our Twitter logo is rainbow now, because reasons, right? And it's like, for most people who are going to do that, like I've seen lots of people I follow on Instagram, organizations like the CFL, other individual sports teams have put a rainbow background behind their logo. I don't know if you've noticed that. You probably have on some of your Instagram followers.
You had me shocked that the CFL be existing. That's awesome. That's good for them. That young upstart league.
But the thing is, it's like UEFA. It's like, dude, just be like, we're corrupt and we're all about the money, because you don't actually care.
Okay, can I ask a legitimate question? Like, as I do, I like to mock these things. But this is more of a serious question. Are they mad are they worried about getting Hungary mad?
I guess.
The Austro-Hungarian Empire's over, man. It's over, bro.
And also, even if it was still there, all the power was in Vienna, which is now part of Austria.
But this is what I'm trying to get at. Like, who cares? If you make Hungary mad, whoop-de-doo.
But
what are you going to do about it?
In the meantime, there were, because 3 games were played in Hungary, in Budapest, and there were a bunch of incidents, like racist incidents, homophobic incidents, that took place during these games, right? Which UEFA is now investigating.
I get it, but the point that I'm trying to get across is that with a lot of these guys, yes, you can be about the money, but like, who cares about Hungary? Are we really losing that much money if we literally just ban Hungary from everything until they get their own act together? Would we lose much? Would anyone notice? Does anyone know where Hungary is on the map outside of someone who was born in Hungary? Yeah, the only Hungary that I have, Dave, is resolved with a sandwich. That's the only Hungary that's involved.
Yeah. No, right? Because it's a thing where it's like, listen, if you care about the one on one hand, then you should. Yeah, but we
know they don't care. We know they don't care about.
No,
I'm being practical.
You can easily move the stadium, because there were games that were supposed to be played in Dublin.
I get it.
They got moved.
I'm being practical. What I'm doing is I'm actually being practical. Who cares about Hungary? Like, I'm posing a legitimate question. Like, of all the places you can upset, okay, if I'm an international federation, I upset the United States, this might be a problem. If I upset England, this might be a problem.
So who are if you're UEFA, so you're a European body, all right?
Yeah.
Which country are you most concerned about upsetting?
Probably Germany.
Okay.
Like, Germany would be one of the strongest.
That's who they upset, though.
But that's what I'm getting at. This is what I'm trying to get at. Like, pick your battles here. Like, I'm willing to lose Hungary. That is a worthwhile sacrifice. Like, it's small potatoes. Who cares? Ditch them. Be like, look, man, you fix your shit and you can come back. Until then, you sit in the corner without your supper.
My point about this moving the game, though, is if any time was be able to piss some people off, it's like now would be it, because the games are
Yeah,
being played all over Europe. Usually it's just in one, maybe two countries.
sure.
This year it's all over the continent,
That's fair.
right?
I get it.
So, and now they're not playing any more games in Hungary, I don't think. I could be wrong on that. There might be one more game, but really it's like, Carlos, this is where the sign comes out and it's like, who cares, right? Hungary, who cares?
No, but like, here's the thing. Normally, I do it in a dismissive manner, and it is kind of being dismissive. But like, I'm also being honest. Like, in the grand scheme of things, you, Hungary, do not have that much power over anything. Really, why are we wasting our time worrying about offending the Hungarians?
Yeah.
Fix yourselves, deal with your issues, and move on. Otherwise, you get nothing. No soup for you. That's it. That's all we got to do here. Get the soup Nazi guy. No soup for you. We're done. Let's move on.
Yeah. So yeah, there is another game in Hungary.
Yeah, that's
So
because,
so far the Netherlands, Czech Republic are supposed to play there on Sunday.
yeah, it's just the reality though. Like they don't really have the guts to really take a stance on anything. Putting a rainbow on a logo is the easiest thing in the world to do. It doesn't mean anything. But at the same time, I'm not upset about it because I understand that. Like these guys don't stand for anything. Like, what's the point? What are we even talking about here? Look, during my brief foray, when I was the resident football expert, as we well know, a golden era in the world of football. Like, that was the golden era. They will speak of it for years to come when Carlos is paying attention.
It's true.
But the thing is, during that brief moment, it was funny because during the hours, and hours of coverage that I was watching, trying to get any nugget on the beloved Super League.
Yes.
I miss you nearly as much as I miss the F. Nearly as much. But the point is, when I was watching all that coverage, there were a lot of people pointing out, it's like, well, you didn't seem to get that upset about the racism thing. You kept talking about it and then you didn't really do anything about it. So like, this isn't new for soccer. Blah, 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 blah. What are you going to do about it?
Exactly.
You're just this. A lot of that. Not much action.
No, I agree with you, man.
So it's like, look, whatever. On the good news is they are consistently consistent. Does that help?
No, I wish it did, but
Yeah. But they are consistent. 100% consistent. You pretty much know what you're going to get, which is nothing.
yeah, that's true.
The beautiful game, Dave. The beautiful game.
It's a true story, Carlos.
I didn't make the
True
news.
story.
I just reported.
And there you have it, Carlos.
Yep. All right. What else you got?
All right, Carlos, I have some questions.
Bring it.
Ready? Why does Jim Cornette hate the AW so much?
Jim Cornette hates pretty much everything. In fairness, that's the easiest one you're going to ask me. Like, no, Jim Cornette hates almost everything, except, interestingly enough, a wrestler named Danhausen.
Okay, I don't know Danhausen.
I'll send you some links.
All right.
Let me give you the brief version. Very interesting, very entertaining character. Decent enough guy that does the character. Kind of silly. Only really would work in the indies, but it works great for what it is. Fun. He's got a YouTube channel. I'll send you some links. It'll be funny.
Okay.
It's enjoyable. But Jim Cornette doesn't hate it, funny enough, because he's focusing on the character and decided and made an active effort. He's spoken on his podcast about this. I don't want to watch a Danhausen match because I know he's going to do a bunch of random shit fighting the Invisible Man. Basically, Jim Cornette only likes like actual professional wrestling. Basically, if it's catch as catch can, Greco-Roman, and old school wrestling, he probably likes it. Everything else he hates. Danhausen is like a goofy character that does a lot of crazy shit. But he goes, you know what? I don't want to watch a match. I have avoided watching a match of Danhausen because I like the character. I enjoy the character. And if I watch the match, it'll ruin it for me. So I'm not going to watch it, but I enjoy the character.
Okay. Because my other thing with that, though, is that there seems to be a lot of AEW hate out there. So I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole onto the anti-AEW thing.
Sure.
And there's actually a Twitter site, which now someone keeps flagging them because they're basically posting GIFs of things that didn't go right in AEW, like a move that didn't quite land right or whatnot. Yeah. Now I don't know how much that compares to some moves in, because sometimes it's hard to tell, whether somebody's really hurt or not.
Yeah.
And other times, maybe they're not hurt, but you're like, that didn't look right.
Mm-hmm.
they landed awkwardly, or they kind of landed on their head, or you know what I mean. In any wrestling, right? Like you can see that.
Sure.
But like, what is with this like sort of subculture of AEW hate out there? Like, I don't
Oh,
get it.
okay.
Is
That's
it is
easy.
it is it is it paid trolls by WWE?
Not
It's
entirely.
possible.
No, the good news is this one's easy. So allow me to illuminate. Allow me to illuminate.
All right, please
Okay,
do.
so here's the deal. There's multiple layers to this. There is a troll element to it. Yes, there is that. There is a layer of that. As you know, god level, pantheon level troll that I am. It's weak. It is very peasant level. Very very sad attempts at trolling. Is an art form, Dave, and I am an artiste, not simply an artist, an artiste. And as an artiste, I take great pride in proper trolling. And this is just sad, pure sadness. But with that said, yeah, there's a trolling element to it, definitely. But don't forget, there are folks that are really invested in the WWE product to the point that they take any competition as a threat, to the point that they need to downplay it. Now, AEW is not perfect, and I've reiterated this a multitude of times. My enjoyment of AEW is because in a lot of aspects they do touch on some of the old school sensibility which WWE has given up on for many years.
Mm-hmm.
They don't stick to the fundamentals very well. Now, AEW does a good job sometimes with the fundamentals. Certain storylines are very basic and straightforward, but they make sense. And that I appreciate. That's all I want. I just want some of the storylines to make sense. That's all I want. The character should develop in a way that chronologically seems to jive. Like, yeah, okay, A, then B, then C. Great. Sounds good. Makes sense. But WWE will go, okay, so we'll start with A, right? Then we'll go to B, right? Then we'll go to triple X. Then we'll back up to double Y. We'll go around to alpha. We'll go to pi. And then we'll end up somehow at W. Wait, what? Huh? And that's what WWE tends to do a lot. But because they're the biggest company, some people give them endless grace. Now, with that said, AEW's biggest problem is that they're still very young. Some people don't understand. They're trying to compare them to WWE is a mediocre product. It's mediocre. But in its mediocrity, it's got a solid base. It knows how to be mediocre. They have mastered mediocrity. They know how to do it. And as a result, they remain the biggest company because their mediocrity it's good enough. They're basically there so they don't get fined, except they do it on TV. Week after week. They're like, we're here. Well, yeah, but could you put on a good show? Well, we didn't promise that. We're here, but we are here. Isn't the same match you did 14 times already? Yes, this will be number 15. And then next week, number 16. Isn't that stale and uninteresting and uncompelling? Yes. Is there no character development? Yes. Am I literally not going to be satisfied about any aspect of anything I've just seen? Yes. Tune in next week to see more. And I'm like, no. So like I said, AEW tries stuff. The downside of trying stuff is you're going to screw up. And you have to remember a lot of the talent they're doing is relatively new to television. So what they do is they borrow a lot of the sensibilities of the independents. On the independent, you're trying to get attention. Trying to get attention means you're taking a lot of risk. Mm-hmm. If you're someone who's a bit of a high flyer, you're going to go nuts and really go for it. Whether it's the first match in the show or the main event of the show, or you're on Dark, which is only on YouTube, or you're on Elevation, which is on YouTube. Now, the good news is when it works, you're going to get some really impressive looking matches, some great high flying and all that good stuff. Great. But it's also super dangerous, and the likelihood of you screwing up is tremendously high. Your skill level is very high, but your like think in the Olympics when you've got the gymnasts and they get scoring depending on difficulty. You're basically trying to do 10.0 difficulty constantly. Well, the likelihood is the reason it's 10.0 difficulty is because the likelihood of you screwing up is super high. That's why it's high difficulty. Well, WWE is content to give you 3.0 difficulty, which means they'll nail it every time, but it's uncompelling and unexciting. But they'll make very few mistakes because they're not really taking many risks. AEW will take a ton of risks, which means they're going to screw up a lot. So these folks basically just sit there and pick apart the screw-ups. And one thing AEW has not mastered, which we've talked about before, and we talked about it during that Blood and Guts thing where I said about the Chris Jericho thing coming off, all you needed to do to fix that was a better camera angle.
Right.
And that's experience. The idea was fine. The execution is where you fell short. You screwed it up. You showed him falling on basically foam. If you had just, and by the way, WWE a couple of weeks ago did a similar angle, but they did the exact opposite. They did it correctly. And I'll explain quickly what happened. It was supposed to be part of this feud between Rey Mysterio and Roman Reigns.
Okay.
And as part of it, Rey Mysterio's son Dominic came down to try to fight Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns is champion, and he's this super bad guy and everything. And as
believe it or not, I've actually been following this.
Sure. But the specific thing I'm talking about is where he throws Dominic over the top rope outside.
Yeah. Yep.
But if you look at the angle, all you see is him throw him. So it looks like he's thrown him to his death. He may as well have been thrown into a bottomless pit. You don't know where he's going.
And the nice thing about this from a production standpoint, there are no fans.
Yes.
Stands.
Yeah, but
so they can make it look like whatever they want.
Yeah,
because
he could have landed on the biggest.
Worry about what the live audience sees.
Yeah, he could have landed on the biggest crash pad in recorded history. You don't know that because the next cut you get is him on the ground writhing in agony. He did not fall on the ground. He was either caught or he fell on a crash pad. But you can't tell because the camera angle was facing the throw. So you're watching him fly off the screen. It's a beautiful visual. But then the next thing you see is him on the ground, half dead. That was the same concept, but WWE knows how to shoot this. They know how to shoot this in a way.
Again with the Hell in the Cell where he threw Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, but they know how to shoot it correctly. They know how. The one thing WWE knows how to do is they know how to shoot it correctly, where it's very safe, super safe, but they know how to shoot it in a clean way that makes it look the best. Tony Khan and his staff need to work on that because that's something they need to learn.
Speaking of need to work on things with AEW, did you watch last week's Dynamite?
I did, yeah.
Did you? Okay, so this MMA fight that happened.
Yeah. Okay.
Can we not?
Yeah.
Because here's the two things I want to just mention.
Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, I'm gonna just talk, but if you know what to do. I feel that with certain points, because they're both connected, but that somebody's act kind of gets stale if you watch them all the time. Like Roman Reigns, I'm not trying to disrespect Roman Reigns, but it seems to me that, like, because I've watched a few of his matches lately, but his stuff with Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio, as well as some previous things from some pay-per-views that are like some DVDs that I've been watching. And literally all it seems to me is he does some Superman punches and then he yells his thing and spears people.
Okay, but have you been watching his matches lately?
I watched the most recent one against Rey Mysterio.
Okay, so this is the Hell in a Cell one. This is the Hell in a Cell one? Okay, gotcha.
So anyway, but on that thing, because the thing that made me think about with the AEW is the Superman punch where he's like, they're like, oh, Superman punch, where I can't remember which of the two guys it was, but he jumps off the side of the cage and he comes down like this.
Wardlow.
Wardlow. But he just like literally goes like this on his neck.
Yeah.
Like he brushes his neck. And I'm like, okay. So we know, because we're wrestling fans, that wrestling is a work. Right? So here's what I'm about to tell you. Maybe, and you can disagree with me if you want. MMA fighting and wrestling doesn't work as a work.
Generally, yes.
That did not do it for me at all. That fight did not do it for me at all.
No, I agree. But let me take it a step deeper. Let me take it a layer deeper. So, yes, that is correct. But part of the reason it didn't work, and it was funny that you mentioned this because somebody else was asking me about that this week. So actually was asking me, hey, what'd you think about this? And I gave some thoughts. So let me reiterate some of those thoughts and play off of what you just said. All right. So I agree. As a fan of MMA, who knows what it looks like, and Jake Hager has participated in MMA, real MMA.
Which they showed, right? They showed clips of that.
Yeah. So the thing is, he knows how to do it. So he can make it look good. But the reality, and Wardlow is a great athlete. He's a very good athlete. So he can do a lot. But the problem is, in fairness, this is, again, a situation where the camera angles did them no favors. If you're going to do a worked MMA fight, then you had better have your camera guy in position correctly on every part of this fight. And you better pre-record it. And if you need to do 50 takes with 5 camera angles and cut it in such a way that it looks proper, that's what you need to do. But you cannot do this anything resembling live because your camera angles were all off. You were exposing that you were missing. And the problem is that, and here was my issue with it. The concept I understood, but there was no way it was ever going to work. The reason why is that you can't work an MMA fight. An MMA fight usually devolves into grappling.
Yes.
And it's not a very exciting television product unless you're into the very technical side of it. So it's not great for like wrestling television. And also at the same vein, if it's being done properly, trust me, those reversals are not that simple. A guy doesn't just, oh, well, he's locked into a submission and then the guy immediately gets out of it. Oh, and then he does. And the whole jumping off a cage thing is a play off of a thing that did happen in an MMA fight, but it was a kick. Nobody jumps off a cage to do a punch. They jump off a cage. A guy has jumped off a cage. I think it was Anthony Pettis. And he jumped off a cage and did a kick. And he hit the guy flush, knocked him out. It was a spectacular highlight reel KO. But what happens is in MMA, okay, if you're going to do this, you realize that when you punch somebody like that with the size gloves that they use in MMA, I'm sorry, people are going to bleed. You're going to have contusions. Like, it's not going to last. And you invalidate the premise when your coach is on the side. Jake Hager is actually an MMA fighter. He has an MMA camp. He's actually trained and fought MMA fights. Why wouldn't his normal trainer be doing this instead of Chris Jericho? Chris Jericho is not an MMA trainer. I'm sorry, he's not. He has many talents. I showed an autograph of his earlier. I am a fan, but MMA trainer he's not.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm sorry, guys. This is stupid. When you've got your guys from your two factions playing the role of trainer on an MMA fight, it's going to look bad. And when you're doing a ground and pound, all you got to do is hit a couple elbows. Here's the problem with this. It was an MMA fight. They did a gimmick. I shouldn't say gimmick. They did a storyline where Brock Lesnar was working and establishing himself, and he had a match with Randy Orton. And they decided, for whatever reason, I think Randy Orton was high at the time. He had to be, because I wouldn't volunteer to do it. They decided they wanted to make it look really good. So basically, I don't know who suggested it, but they basically decided, hey, Brock, can you hit him with a couple of elbows and make him bleed hard way? Meaning make him bleed because you hit him with an elbow?
Yeah, no blading. Like, this is
because all he's got to do is hit him with the point of the elbow the right way, and trust me, his forehead will bleed. So they did that, and I think Randy Orton got a concussion from it. Because Brock Lesnar is a big dude, and he's more than capable of inflicting. Yeah, he also fought in MMA.
I don't think I'd be saying I would not be signing up for that.
Yeah, like, that's a terrible idea. That's like, why would you even do that? Now, did it look spectacular? Yes. Did it make Brock Lesnar look like a killer? Yes. But Brock Lesnar fought in MMA.
Yeah.
So it's like, I already know he can do that. I watched him punch Shane Carwin, and he did like a backflip, and Shane Carwin is a gigantic dude.
Yeah.
So it's like, I already know Brock Lesnar is physically capable of doing such a thing to someone. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you didn't need to convince me. I already know this. So it's like, so that's why, like, when you do it and you take a guy who actually is trained in it, it looks silly that he didn't. To me, if you're going to do it, then he has to beat Wardlow in like 2 minutes. Because it's like, well, I actually know how to do this. So I'm going to put you in a submission and we're done. We're done here. Like, this shouldn't last long. Like, really. It's silly that it lasts more than a round.
Well, the longer that went on, the worse it got. I was like, and that's how they started the show too. Right?
Yeah.
So I and I mean, I PVR'd it, so I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because I was the match that I was interested in was the Darby Allin versus Scorpio Sky and the other guy.
Ethan Page. All ego Ethan Page.
Right. So that match interested me. So that's why I watched for that. Sure, but I obviously watched the whole show. Mm-hmm. But I was like, if I'd been some casual person coming in, I don't think I would have stuck around.
Yeah, it looks silly. I really think it was a silly look, and I understood why they did. But I'm saying, if you're gonna do it, then you better have your camera game figured out. And AEW still struggles with this from time to time. They'll have this thing where they'll cut to the wrong camera angle, and I don't know who the producer is, but they got to work on this because their timing's all off. I don't think it was on that show. It might have been, actually. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think on Dynamite, Penelope Ford was against Julia Hart.
Yes.
That was the women's match? Okay. Yep. Here's the thing. Penelope Ford is actually quite good. Julia Hart is 19. She's very young. She has no business being on TV. She's a pretty girl, but she has no business being on TV. She doesn't know how to wrestle at that level. Bless her for trying. She should be on Dark and Elevation and let her have more matches and let her keep working on it. she does this cheerleader thing, but
Mhm.
she also does like the springboards and handstand. Literally what Penelope Ford does, but Penelope Ford has been doing it longer, so she's a little bit better at it. She's a little cleaner with it. There was a segment where like she was trying to do this like leg split leg drop, which
Mhm.
I've seen before. Melina in WWE, if anybody remembers, used to do a similar move, but the camera angle was such that you could see that she literally missed her head completely. So it's like, that looks terrible. Like, it's like, could you have picked a worse camera angle to show that she whiffed?
Yeah.
And then Penelope Ford has to sell it like she got hit. And I was like, don't make your wrestlers look bad. They're out there trying to do a job. Don't make it harder for them because they're working with what they got. But then if you put the camera angle that shows that I'm doing the thing, I'm supposed to miss the other person. I'm not actually trying to hurt them. We understand this, but don't make it obvious. Don't expose me in that way that it looks bad. That's where the camera people and the cuts that they use have to be on point. This is one area where WWE has it down to a science. They understand when to cut, when to zoom, when to do all this. They overdo it a little bit, but they do understand when to do it. So every move that somebody does looks like it's devastating because they shoot it in such a way. Even if the person misses by 5 feet, it will still look like it's devastating somehow by the camera angle they use. AEW hasn't quite mastered that, and sometimes it really shows. Downside, the good news for them is that right now they're doing the preempted thing for the NBA, and as a result, the audience is down a little bit. So the good news is not too many people got exposed to it because it was at a bad hour, because it was like 10 p.m. Start time, so on a Friday, which is tough. I PVR'd it as well because I was doing a live stream at the time. I do my live streams on Fridays, so for me that was busy. So I had a PVR. Actually, it was funny during the live stream, and folks that watch the live stream. I actually was reminded during the live stream, they're like, "Oh, they're starting off with the MMA fight." I was like, "Shit, I didn't record it." And so I had one of the guys that joins me all the time come on. I was like, "All right, you talk to the people. I will be right back. I have to set my PVR." So I walked away to go set the PVR and then came back.
I like it.
Yeah. Hey, live streams are live streams. But the thing is that for the most part, I enjoyed the show. I thought it was all right. But I'm using that example though to point out that camera work thing, they need to fix that. That's still a work in progress that I'm like, if I was going to give them advice, I'd be like, guys, you need to figure out this camera work thing because it doesn't look good. If you're showing bad angles, you're actually hurting the performers because they're trying to do a good job. They're trying to do their best, but somebody has to be there. And this is part of the AEW hate too. They have a point in the sense that sometimes AEW will show its inexperience. Now, they don't convey it that way. They don't do it in a constructive, logical way. They do it in we're just trying to shill for WWE way. I'm saying, as someone who enjoys the product on the whole, they do have some inexperience. They do need to work on it. There are some areas they need to improve on. And one of the areas they need to improve on is they need to pick their spots a little better. I would not have Penelope Ford being on the main show. Totally makes sense. She is more than good enough to do that job. You need to pick her a different opponent. If you want to have her work with Julia Hart, have her work on Dark and Elevation for a little bit. Have them work on it in the back in a separate ring. Figure out their spots so that she understands exactly move by move this match. Practice it if you have to. But you need to work on it because she's still too new. She's only 19. She's young.
Yeah.
If she works on this another 2 or 3 years, she could be really good. But not today. Not today. Not right now. So right now, when you put her out there on TV, I know less people are watching, but when you put her on TV, she looks like crap. It's not her fault. You got to make those decisions. That's important. You got to know when to show somebody because first impressions last sometimes. So if it doesn't look good, people who have longer memories will be like, I remember watching some of her matches. Not that great. So don't put her in that position. Be fair. Don't put her in that position. Right now, she's a good valet for Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison. I forget. I think Varsity Blondes, I think is what they're calling.
Yep.
As a tag team. She's really good as a valet for them. Right now, that's a good spot for her to work on. And she can keep working on the wrestling. I'm happy to see her evolve because that women's division is getting better. It is getting better all the time. So I appreciate that they're doing a good job with it. But don't put her out there on TV when she's not ready. Don't do that. That's not fair.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's why I wanted to answer your question, but I also wanted to explain there's a ton of context on that one. And
no, for sure. I think that puts it into into a better context for everything
Yeah.
overall. For
The
sure.
MMA fight's a good example of they need to work on their camera work and they need to pick their spots. Sometimes they get a little arrogant. Sometimes they think they're a little better at it than they are, but they're still, as a crew. Here's the thing. AEW has very enthusiastic people who love working there, and it shows. It shows they care. But I think they need to understand sometimes, I understand you care. I understand you're working real hard, but you still need to put on a good quality product. And the best way to put on a good quality product is somebody has to stand there and be like, hey, this isn't quite ready for prime time. Let's workshop it a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make some adjustments here and let's keep working at it. Sometimes it hurt. Tony Khan is a fan of professional wrestling. Sometimes that's good. And sometimes that's bad. Because sometimes I think he doesn't know how to be like, this isn't quite good enough for TV yet. Maybe we should hold back on this one. Because they'll do all these ambitious ideas because the promoters, I can totally put it off, Tony. Let me try it. Sometimes you gotta be like, why don't you keep practicing this one a little bit and then let's review it in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes you gotta say no. So he'll learn, hopefully, if he keeps improving. Like I said, it's not a perfect show. But is it better than what WWE's trying? Anything's better than what WWE's trying. Jesus. Do I need to go back to the B horror movie from last week?
No.
And WWE should know better. They should know what they're doing. They've only had
Carlos,
50 freaking years.
They have Ding Dong Hello, and AEW doesn't.
Look, here's the thing. For Bayley, she's making garbage work. She's doing her best. Did you see... I don't want to spend more time really talking about this part, but I'll quickly touch on it.
All right,
did you see what they did?
Can be done. So,
yeah. Did you see what they did with Nikki Cross?
Yes, I did actually. I don't know context of it, but somehow she's a superhero now.
Yes, I don't know the context of it either. I don't care. It's stupid. Like, regardless,
it seems weird.
It's stupid. No, it's just stupid. It's dumb as hell. It doesn't make any sense, and I don't care. Like, that's all I need to explain. Like, we're in 2021 and we're doing superhero gimmicks again. We've done this shit. Last time it was a comedy thing. It was kind of funny. Last time. This time it's stupid. Who needs this? Who? It's 2021. We don't need this shit.
And it's not like it's pulling in viewership.
Nothing they do is pulling in viewership. But it's like, stop. Just stop doing these things. Like, it's one of those things. Like, trust me, this isn't motivating. This isn't motivating me to watch. That's why I don't pay attention to it. But then I'll catch a clip here and there, and I'm like, really? This is the garbage you're doing now? This is the crap you're gonna do? Okay. Keep enjoying your declining viewership. Like, I guess that's working out great for you so far. Keep it up. Keep it up. It's working out great. But in a bottom line is, WWE has all the resources in the world. More talent than they even know what to do with. Better resources. The best camera people who know how to cut everything beautifully. They can make it look good. So they got talent. They got money. They got the right production people. They got a commentary professional production team. Everything should be top notch. The presentation should be unimpeachable. And you give me a superhero. That's the best you can do. This is the problem in a nutshell. You might not like AEW, but at least they're new to this. At least I can say they're inexperienced. What's WWE's excuse?
It's true, man.
That's what I say. Like, it's inexcusable to me. Like, you guys know better. You know how to do a better show than this. This is crap. And it's been crap for a very long time, and it's not getting better. It's getting worse. So it's like, all right, listen, man, I'll take AEW's hiccups. I'll take them trying an MMA fight that doesn't quite work. I'll take them trying to do, bring a couple of inexperienced hands on there, giving them a go. But I'll still get a couple of good matches out of it. I'll get a couple of good promo segments out of it. I'll have some fun with it. It is what it is. At least they're working on it because I can see progression. I can see certain characters that are doing better. And that's all I'm really asking for out of AEW. And as long as I get that, I'm happy as a viewer. Cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Anything else that you want to touch on?
No, I think we're good.
Excellent. Excellent. So that shall be episode 101. I have no idea what I'm going to call this. I really don't. I actually have no idea. But anyway, so that'll conclude this episode here. And we are going to be available on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, wherever you get your podcast. If you want to do audio only, you're going to miss out on the beautiful pictures, the glorious pictures. So you
Paul
miss out on
Sun Hung Lee. Okay, see you. Kim's Convenience, man.
Moving on. Anyway, so other than that though, it is also there's going to be an archive version on Facebook, unedited with whatever it is Dave just did. I'll probably leave it in, but I'll still be perplexed.
If you know, you know.
Great. really pandering that a 10 person viewership. Anyway, so what we're going to do then is we'll come back next week. We were doing this midweek. The reason I'm making an emphasis on this is we're doing this midweek, and the next episode should be back on the regular schedule, and then we'll kind of play it from there. So you'll get 2 episodes kind of in close order after a little gap there. So that'll be it for myself and Dave. If you catch it on the YouTube version, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you catch it on the audio version, I'm sure there's a button somewhere that you can do something. Subscribe to that too. Subscribe to all the things. Don't do it for me. Do it for Dave. He's got his little habiton for now. Like, do it for Dave. Do it for Dave.
It's true. If they lose, I don't know what I'm going to have.
You're going to have very sad poutine. That's what you're going to have.
It's true. Tears in my poutine. Can we call this episode "Tears in My Poutine"?
That's as good as any crap I was going to come up with. All right, Tears in Poutine it is. So that's episode 101 of the Unnecessary Nonsense podcast. Episode title in the last couple of minutes.